My name's Jonny and I'm in the Albert Edward Lodge 1783 and this is my MCF story. I was initiated into Freemasonry in 2019 and if you knew me in 2019 you'd see that I was a very different person. I'd been suffering with chronic back pain for almost a decade and I wasn't in a very good state, to be honest. Now the NHS had been trying to treat me for all them years, but sadly without success. A lot of the things that they had suggested just made things a lot worse. It got to the point where I could barely walk and I was crawling up my own stairs to get to bed, and there was just a constant pursuit of comfort that I could never get. And then in 2020 the pandemic hit and I knew I was in trouble because the NHS services which I was using all but shut down. Even though I'd been living with chronic pain all these years, the NHS pretty much said, we can't really help you, we're going to have to find a way for you just to manage the pain, but that just wasn't good enough. So I had to take matters into my own hands and I found a surgeon that had pioneered the surgery that I needed, which was an ALIF 360. An ALIF 360 is basically the closest you can get to being cut in half without actually being cut in half. Naturally the NHS didn't have the capacity for this, so I found the surgeon that could do it. On initially contacting the surgeon, it seemed that this was going to be a very pricey procedure and I needed to have a consultation that was going to cost £260. So I started thinking of ways that I could fund this surgery and I thought back to a talk that was given by Worshipful Brother Cash over at Unity Lodge. He explained all the things that the MCF do for Masons and the families and the wider community, so I knew this was an avenue that I was going to chase. So I found the details of the MCF on the website, which was easy enough to do, and I wrote them a letter. The MCF got back to me in record time saying that they would love to help out and pay for the consultation fee. So the day of the consultation comes around and the surgeon I met was fantastic. He basically said, Jonny, don't worry, I can fix you, which was an absolute massive relief when I was told I couldn't be fixed. Now after the good news came the bad news, and the bad news was that this surgery was going to cost over £25,000 roughly. So naturally I went back to the MCF and I provided them with a quote for the surgery with the outcomes and everything that they required just to try and get this funding. So after waiting several weeks, the MCF finally get back in touch, and you'll be glad to know that they awarded me pretty much the full amount for the surgery, and that was a life-changing part of my life right there. So once I found out I'd got this money, I rang up my surgeon and believe it or not, within 2 weeks they'd booked me in for this surgery. The procedure took about 6.5 hours, but it was completely successful. I spent 3 nights in hospital and then I was allowed to leave. From there, I spent 6 months in recovery doing hard physiotherapy, building my strength back up because I'd lost quite a lot of muscle over the years and gained quite a lot of flab. Which then brings me to today. It's been over 1.5 years since I had that life-changing surgery provided by the MCF. And I'm currently walking through a field, up a hill. I might be a bit out of breath, but I feel fantastic. If the MCF hadn't afforded me this funding, then I don't know where I'd be at the moment, but I wouldn't be the person I am today. I most likely wouldn't be walking up this hill, and I definitely wouldn't be smiling. So I just want to say a massive thank you to all Masons out there who have funded my surgery, specifically the MCF for the fantastic work that they do.